exciting for us to have you here on the call. And I just want to point out and mention that this session is being recorded, so you'd have access to the recording of the session as well as the materials that are used in this session. But in order to guarantee that, please make sure that you fill out the attendance form, which I am sharing in the chat, as well as my colleague. Right, so please make sure you fill the attendance form so you gain access to all of these materials and can catch up with or follow up on everything that was discussed or that will be discussed in the session today. A very special welcome to everyone on the call right now. And before we dive into the conversation, I would like to identify who the first timers are on the call. So if this is your very first time of interacting with Tenalytics, of being in a session like this with Tenalytics, I would like for you to type A1 in the chat. Just go into the chat and type A1. If this is your very first time ever interacting with Tenalytics, just go into the chat and type A1. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's awesome to see, those of us that are joining for the very first time. It's awesome to see those of us that have been in prior sessions. It's amazing to have everyone on the call right now. For those of us that are meeting Tenalytics for the very first time, Tenalytics is a global ed tech brand, and the focus of this brand in the last 5 years is in equipping people with tech skills that they need in order to get into the tech space. And in the last 5 years, we've trained more than 3,000 people across various tech roles, and we've had an 88% success rate with all of the participants that have gone through Tenalytics. The objective for us is really simple, that you get equipped with the technical skills that you need, you have the experience that's required for the job, and you actually get a job at the end of the day. And so we have designed a system that helps us to achieve this. And that's why we have so many success stories. I mean, before the conversation started, you saw the testimonials from many different people who have had, similar experiences with us here at Tenalytics. And so your case will be no different. All right. This is what Tenalytics done. And in the last 5 years, we've helped more than 3,000 people make a transition and secure a job in the tech space. So you're all specially welcome. This is a special welcome from Tenalytics to every one of you that's on the call right now. Now, you might also be wondering, who is this guy? Who is this person in front of you that's saying all of these things? And what really qualifies me to be having this conversation with you? My name is Jedidiah. I am a data scientist, machine learning, and AI engineer. I've been in the space for more than half a decade now. And in this time, I have worked with organizations across the US, the UK, Canada, Nigeria, and so many other spaces. I've had the awesome opportunity to lead tech teams in the US as well as in Nigeria. And I've also trained more than 1,000 people, helping them to get into the tech space. So I have experience actually working in the industry to the level of leading tech teams, as well as training people and helping them to make a transition into the tech space. And I'll be bringing my wealth of experience across these various, experiences. I'll be bringing all of that into the conversation that we are going to be having today. And trust me, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot for you to learn in the session today. So I'd encourage you to ensure you grab a pen, grab a book so that you can jot things down as we go. Now, along with me for the session today is my colleague, Oluwademilade, and I'm just going to allow her to introduce herself. She's the one that will be taking us through some really interesting and fantastic projects that we're going to be working on today. I'm just going to give her the time to introduce herself, and then we'll move on with the session. Hi, Demilade.
Hi, Jedidiah. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning from wherever you're joining. I'm Oluwademilade Uyikomi. I'm a DevOps engineer. I have over 3 years of experience and I've worked across multiple industries. I've worked in the fintech industry, investment, civic tech, I worked on a dating or social tech project once, right? And DevOps is something that is very personal to me. It's something that I went into when I was still in school, and it's something that I love doing. And I'm here to just give you very very short introduction into DevOps, a particular aspect of DevOps that is one of the most interesting aspects, right? And then I'm very glad that you guys are here. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Demilade, for that awesome introduction. So you're seeing that we have a team of really amazing people. Demilade with her experience working with, huge banks and even across multiple industries, bringing all of that experience into the session today. So it promises to be an amazing one. You really want to pick up on every single detail. Make sure you fill the attendance form so you have access to the recording as well as the materials that would be used in the session today. And also, do make sure you pay close attention. Grab a book, grab a pen so you can jot things down as we go. Without any further ado, let's dive into it. Now, here we have a quick breakdown of how the flow of the session is going to be. We're going to kick off with Demilade taking us through a practical walkthrough of how to use Jenkins and Kubernetes to deploy a scalable web application with zero downtime. Now, this might sound like a lot of technical jargon, but trust me, Demilade is going to be breaking things down once she gets on, right? And after this conversation, we'll be having another walkthrough. We'll be having another in-depth is going to be more of a heart-to-heart talk on what the pathway is to becoming a data engineer. And we'll be understanding whether or not it's really worth it to actually get into DevOps engineering, especially in today's day and age where we have AI everywhere. And then we'll be discussing how exactly you can make your transition and some of the extra benefits that you stand to gain with us here at Analytics. And in addition to all of this, there's a special gift that Analytics has for every single person that's on the call right now. However, you would have to stick around to the end of the session in order to access this. So if you'd like to take advantage of this special gift from Analytics, if you'd like to gain access to this special gift from Analytics, I would encourage that you stick around to the end of the session so that you can access this. It's lovely to have everyone on the call right now. And without any further ado, I'm going to quickly hand over to Demilade as she'll take us through the rest of the session. Hi, Demilade.
Hi, Jedediah. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my screen very briefly, and we can dive into what we're here to do. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? It's not a slideshow. Yes. Okay, so if you can see my screen, if you can see fixing fin flows, deployments, problems, please give me a thumbs up. Great. So let's dive into it. Good. So today we're all going to be DevOps engineers. We're going to go into fin flows, deployment problems, and this is just a beginner's journey through Docker, Jenkins, and Kubernetes. So first, let's meet FinFlow. So FinFlow is a fast-growing digital bank in the heart of London. So it's basically a bank, a digital banking application. They let millions of people move money, pay bills, and get paid all from one application. Their headquarters is in London, UK. Their product, digital banking and payment, and their customers, they have a growing user base nationwide. So now this is what they do. They move money 24/7, right? Money is moved 24/7. Reliability is everything. I'm sure we all have a bank account, and you know that it is very, very important for your bank to be very reliable. So for you to open your bank app to transfer money so that you won't be stranded, is very, very important. Right. So reliability is everything, and downtime equals lost trust because you just know that, oh, this bank is not reliable. So let me source for a different bank. So this is very important to them. Reliability is everything. So what are the issues that they have? Number one, manual deployment of their code. That is for their code to reach the hand of the end users is done by hand, right? It works. There's an issue of it works on my machine. I will explain that. Outages on salary days. So let's say in most companies in the UK, on the 24th of every month, salary is paid. A lot of people want to access their money. So on that particular day, they have downtime, which is a very huge problem. That means people can access what they worked for in an entire month, right? The next is broken and unpredictable releases. So the code has issues whenever they push to production, and also it is impossible to scale. So these are the issues that Payflow is having. So I'm going to dive right into it. But it works on my machine. This is a very serious issue that Payflow has. So first, let's go to what is DevOps. DevOps is a way of working where developers and operations collaborate to ship software faster and more reliably. So before you want to understand something in tech, maybe you want to understand a particular service, a particular tool, you need to understand the principle, what we call first principle. So what was the problem before this particular tool came in play? What was the problem before DevOps became a thing? So the issue was that, the developers want to write code, they want to fix their code, and they want to push it to production. That means they want the end users to have access to it fast. The operations team, on the other hand, they're the ones that run the systems, they're the ones that monitor the systems, and what they want is stability. They don't really care about whether the code gets to the end users as very fast or every day. All they care about is the code stable? So imagine two teams with two different agendas. Of course, they are going to clash. The devs want everything to go fast. The operations team want everything to go smoothly. So that is where I hope you would come in as a DevOps engineer. You're supposed to bridge the gap. You're supposed to be at the middle and make sure that everything works smoothly. So yes, you are going to ensure that number one, the releases are faster. So you're going to help the developers achieve their goal. Two, you're going to ensure that there are fewer failures. You are going to help the operations team to achieve their goals. And then you're going to have to ensure constant improvement. So it means every time there is an improvement, there's something that is being fixed, with your code or with your environment. So down to what I was explaining before, but it works on my machine, right? This is when the same code behaves differently in two places. So this is where the developers and the operations team, this is where they clash. On the developers side, they are saying, oh, everything works well. The library version is correct, the setting is correct, and the application runs successfully. But on the production server, after pushing, the application is not working. The operations team, they go back to tell developers that, oh, this thing, excuse me, this thing is failing. So what exactly is the problem? But the developers are saying, oh, it works on my machine. The first thing to check is what exactly is the environment that is running from the developers on the laptop of the developers, and what is running on the production server. Right here, developers, their laptop has Node 18, Ubuntu 22, that is the correct library and the operating system, and it works perfectly. But if you look at the production server, it runs on Node 14, outdated, and CentOS 7, a completely different operating system. So of course the application is going to crash. So then we now want to solve this issue. What is the issue? What is this problem? How can we fix it? How can we bridge the gap? We want to satisfy the developers, we want to satisfy the operations team, and of course, we want to satisfy the end users and the company itself. Because every time this particular issue drags on, the company is losing valuable money. The company is losing a lot of money, especially in a company like a fintech company where they deal with cash and transactions. So this is exactly where Docker comes in. So here you can see containers, you can see you are the dock, and you can see different containers in this image and all. So this is what Docker solves. So what is Docker? Docker packs your application and everything in it into one sealed box. that is called a container. So if you look to the right here, you can see this container, you can see that it has the application, the libraries, and the settings. So it's basically packaging every single thing that you need in one box. So there's no issue of, oh, I have node 18 on my system, the production server has node 20. No, on the container, there is one node version, maybe node 20 or node 19. There is one node version, and it works on the developer's laptop exactly the same way it runs on the production server. So it runs the same on any computer. It bundles the code, it bundles the libraries and the settings all together. It stays fast. It is fast, number one, and it is very, very consistent. It means that you can trust it that it's going to act the exact same way in any environment. So down here, you can see build, ship, and then run. This is the Docker workflow. So first you build an image from your application, then you ship it, you push the image to a registry, then you run it, you start your container anywhere, which is something that I'm going to run you through today. So there is this thing about, oh, Docker, what is it? You know, you hear Docker images, you hear Docker containers, you don't know which is which. But what is Docker image? Docker image is basically a blueprint. So if you've seen the blueprint of a house before, maybe you've worked in, the building space or something, right? A Docker image is the blueprint. If you like cooking, the Docker image is basically like your cooking recipe, while the container is the cooked food. Whatever it is you're cooking, the container is like your cooked meal, right? But your image is basically a blueprint, while your container is the running copy of your blueprint, basically. This is the entire building. For the image, you build it just once, and the container, you run it as many times as you want. So, Docker at FinFlow. So, we're not bringing Docker into FinFlow. So, what is it helping us to do? To the left, you can see that before setup used to differ on every server. So you have like, let's assume that we have like 7 servers, different node versions. One is running on node 12, another one node 15, node 19, blah 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 blah, which is an issue, right? Number two, releases break unexpectedly because of cost, right? You have different setups across board, so you cannot expect everything to run the exact same way as the other one. And then you have hours that you are losing in debugging different environments, what is causing this, what is causing that. But immediately we implemented, the dockerizing our application, we had one container that was running everywhere the same way. We had predictable and repeatable releases, and it took us minutes to deploy. So we didn't have issues with, oh, let's debug, what is this problem, what is that problem? Oh, server 1 has an issue, okay, let's fix it. Server 2 has an issue, let's fix it. Server 3 has a different issue, let's fix it. No, everything was working across but the exact same way. So now that we've implemented Docker, right, our manual deployments are still breaking, right? It's still breaking our application, our FinFlow application, because every release, every push is done by hand, step by step, sometimes in the night. Because you want to deploy something to end users, it's usually done at night when you have less people accessing the site. That is why sometimes you see some messages or some notifications from a particular application saying there's going to be downtime from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. on a certain day, because we're going to be updating our site or our website or something, because most deployments are done by night. So of course, some of these people that are running these deployments were working all through the day. So number one, it is easy to skip steps. It is slow and it is stressful, right? If you're doing it step by step manually, you're copying and pasting, you're doing something late at night at 2 a.m. when you've been working all day from 8. So of course that is an issue. And then human errors can cause outages. But let's think about it. What if we have a machine that can do that for us? We just click a button and then everything runs, which brings us to Jenkins, right? Jenkins is like our factory assembly line, right? This allows you to stop deploying by hand. It lets an assembly line to build, to test, and to ship for you. So this brings us to, what is CI/CD? What is the foundation of Jenkins? What exactly is fueling Jenkins? So what is CI/CD? This is a way to automate the path from code to customers. It is the way we can use Zoom today, is because you have DevOps engineers behind the scene and you have a CI/CD pipeline. Most definitely, they have a CI/CD pipeline behind the scenes. So, what is continuous integration? It means that every code change is automatically built and tested. It means that the operations guys will not get the code from the devs and then start building and testing. No, it means that it is done automatically, right? And what does this fix? You catch bug early and the code always works together. So it means that when there's an issue from the very beginning, you fix the issue and everything is sorted out. Then let's now talk about continuous delivery because you hear CI/CD a lot in the DevOps space. So what is CI/CD? What is CD? Tested changes are automatically prepared and shipped. Release anytime, there are no manual steps. So it means that immediately, everything is done, everything has been pushed, right? And then testing has been done and everything. You can automatically take that to the customers. The customers automatically have access to it. That is why up here you have automating the path from code to customers. So next, the Jenkins pipeline and theme flow CI/CD flow. Now we have 5 automated stages for each release. Checkout, from checkout with Jenkins, you have checkout, build, test, Dockerize, and deploy. So this is the Jenkins pipeline. While down here, you have the theme flows CI/CD flow. So what they do is the developer pushes to Git, pushes the code to Git. Jenkins will build and test automatically and then package the application into an image. So a single Git push triggers the entire pipeline without, you know, any human input. But why is Docker alone not enough? It is salary day, right? And the traffic exploded. So you have like 7,000, 500,000 people trying to access, the application at once. You have just a single container that is just used to maybe just 200 people accessing the application. So of course now it has a whole lot of people accessing the application. Of course it's going to break. It's like, the last straw. This one is not even the last straw, it's the straws that broke the camel's back. Traffic has spiked by over 10%, right? 10 times the traffic, containers overload and crash, and nothing restarts them automatically. So, who manages all the containers that we're going to create when things go wrong? This now brings us to Kubernetes and scaling with Kubernetes. Right. First, I will explain the core concepts in Kubernetes. In this image, you can see that there is a box. Inside the box, you have the node, and inside the node you have pods. So the pod is the smallest unit that runs your container. Is like a vehicle on the road. The node is like a machine that houses this pod, which is like the road itself, and the cluster is when all nodes are managed together, right? The clusters make up nodes, right? And the clusters is like the entire city. Another concept about Kubernetes is self-healing. It means that Kubernetes constantly checks the health of your application or of your pods and be sure that everything is working well. When and if your pod should crash, what happens is Kubernetes spins up a new pod automatically, right? And the unhealthy pod is removed automatically. So it means that when a particular aspect of your application is failing, when an application is failing, what Kubernetes does is it notices that there's a problem, it brings that thing down, it puts it down, and then it creates a new one. Right. So if you look at this chart on top here, you see that at 6 a.m., right, we had like maybe 30 people trying to access the application on salary day. By let's say yes, 30 people. By 9 a.m., you had 50, right? By 12 p.m., you had over 80 people. Then by 3 p.m., you had, less than 80 people, between 80 and 70 people, right? Then by 6 p.m., you had close to 100, or let's say 100,000, right? And then by 9 p.m., you have about 50 people accessing the application. If you look on the right, you see that there is a chart is talking about the running pods, right? You can see that the pods are scaling up and scaling down, right? So by 6 a.m., you had just about 2 pods that were running. By 9 a.m., when you saw that you had, about 40 people, over 40,000 people accessing the application, the pods increased to 4. By 12 p.m., the pod increased to over eight. and it kept on increasing and decreasing, increasing and decreasing. So what happens is that on salary day, scaling happens. Kubernetes adds capacity automatically. It detects rising traffic. It spins up more pods instantly, immediately. It doesn't wait for you to say, oh, can you please help me spin up one more pod? It just automatically knows, but that is if you've set it up. Automatically knows that at this point I'm going to scale up or scale down based on how many people are trying to access the application. Scales back down to save costs, right? So that is also another beautiful thing about Kubernetes. So before the manual, before, when we were still deploying manually, on salary day there are outages so people can access their money. Engineers have to manually restart the servers, and then customers are locked out, causing outrage, and people going on Twitter and complaining about how film flow doesn't work well and how everybody should avoid film flow, right? But after we automated this, right, it's our application will auto scale when there is a spike, when there is a crashed pod, maybe a pod is not functioning as it should. It heals the pods. Its customers. The beautiful thing is the customers never notice what is going on in at the back, or like in the behind the scenes. Yes, that's the English, behind the scenes. So now I've just spoken about the theoretical aspect of this, right? So what I want to do is I want to walk you through the the practical aspect of this. I want you to be able to see what this means and what I'm explaining, and not just that you can do this, you can do that, or this is not just word of mouth. You're actually going to see everything run. So I'm going to share my entire screen now so that you can see everything that I'm going to run now. So how this is going to work is we're going to have how this is going to work is we're going to have a how would we call it? We're going to have a lab guide, and then we're now going to have the terminal by the side, and my VS Code. So I've installed everything that needs to be installed so as to avoid, wasting time installing, which will take a lot of time. It took me a lot of time though. So I'm just going to run you through that and we'll just go straight up. So I'm currently on my local machine. I'm using WSL because it is just easy. So first, I've installed Git. So let's see that everything is running as it should. Git version, yes, we have Git Java version. Here we have how to install it and what you need. Yes, Minikube version. Yep, it's available, right? And Jenkins is also available. So before this class started, I had to, start up my Jenkins. I had to install Jenkins and start it up. This is Jenkins running here. If you want to install it, you can just copy the command and install it as you should, right? So first I want to create my for this to be fast, I'm just going to be copying and pasting. I'm going to be explaining as I go. So you create your directory. My name of my a directory basically is just how would I call it? It's basically a folder, right? But in Linux we call it a directory. So this is make directory. I'm going to create a directory, DevOps workflow. I'm going to change directory into it, which is DevOps workshop, right? So, and I'm going to code full stop. So this is me opening my VS Code. So I'm going to leave my terminal now. I'm going to go into my VS Code, right? So basically, I want to create a very, very simple web application. It should not take a long time. Name of my application is this is going to be index.html. It's an HTML file. It's very, very simple, not complicated, just basically straight to the point, because writing code is not what we're going to be doing here. So first we're going to create an index.html, and then we're going to containerize our application. So I'm going to, and how you containerize this is us. We want to basically have a blueprint of how we want our application to go. So we're going to create a Docker file, and it's a very, very simple Docker file because we're going to be creating it's an index.html file. Okay, so Docker file. This is it. So it's just basically there's no extension. I just pasting it. So what this is going to do is this is going to create. You can have spaces, right? It's going to create this container. It's going to pull this container from the Docker registry. It's going to copy my index.html file and copy it into this particular file, and it's going to open port 80 so that I can be able to access my application on a particular port. Then I'm going to create a file called .docker ignore. As the name implies, right, is supposed to ignore a particular file called .git. And why is it going to do that? It's going to do that because .git is sometimes can be very, very heavy depending on, how heavy your code is. So having this is best because what it does is it helps you to reduce the size of your Docker container in your server, so you don't waste too much space doing what you should not do. So first, I'm going to build my application. I'm going to build my Docker image first, right? And this is basically saying Docker build target. This is the name of my Docker file. I'm going to call it my first or my 10 analytics DevOps app v1 full stop. So this full stop is basically saying build everything that is here. So what this is doing is just building all this. That's a paparazzi is just building it. So it did the first step. It pulled from here. Then the second step is to copy to index.html. Then the third step is just to expose port 80. So now I'm going to run this now. So it's not just to build. You have to run it. If not, how are you going to how are you going to have access to it? So I'm going to check my local hosts because what I did is I told this thing to run on port 8080 on my local host. So let's see, is it going to be up or is it going to be down? Yep. So if you look at my file, it says, "Hi, my name is Oluwademilade and I love DevOps. Hello world," right? Which is what I specified in my index.html file. You see it right here. Hello world, a heading, and "Hi, my name is Oluwademilade and I love DevOps." So that is basically what is going to be there, right? So I'm going to now stop it, Docker stop and Docker remove, so that it frees up the port, because as this thing is running on port 8080, what it's basically saying is nothing else can run on port 8080. So it's taking time for it to build, which for it to like pull down, which is perfectly understandable. So next is to push to Docker Hub. I don't need to log in because I'm already logged into Docker Hub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag this and I'm going to push. Although I already have this, so I don't need to stress myself. I've tagged it and I've pushed already to my Docker hub. So if you see it here, you should see it here. Yes, where is it? I just saw it now. Okay, see it here. My 10 analytics DevOps application. So it's already here. Or here, my DevOps application, Luwadimadi, my DevOps application. So everything works as it should. So I've pushed it. So next is to start Jenkins, which I've already started. So like I mentioned, so as to save time and to save everybody's precious time, because I know we're all very busy and we have things to do. So if we refresh this, it's not going to run again because you know, I've taken up the space. So now we are at Jenkins. So what I'm basically doing is I'm showing you the manual way you can decide to run all this and how stressful it can be. And then we're just going to automate it and we're going to have a very, very sweet life. So next we're going to create a file called Jenkins file. Has no extensions, it's not Jenkins file dot something, no. It's just called Jenkins file. Then we're going to copy this I'm going to copy this and then replace whatever this is with your name, your Docker username. If you look at my Docker file here, you look at my profile, you see that my username is Uluwademilade. So it's basically whatever it is you want to when you create your Docker account, whatever it is your username is, you put it here so that it can tag it. So I'm going to tag it maybe V5 or something. Right. So what this is basically doing is this is telling it that, oh, I want you to look at my Docker file, and I want you to build it locally. So I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to go to Jenkins. So I'm going to go to Jenkins, and what I'm going to do is there is there are a couple of steps. Let me see if I can show that here. A couple of steps that I went through. So if you see it here, you see the sign in page. When you first access it, you have to sign in. Your password is going to be outputted, or you can just whatever this is, try to enter into this location and copy your password from here. Then you see this page, which is then the best thing to do is to install the suggested plugins. And then when you do that, you create your account and then you have access to this. So we're going to create a new account and we're going to call it DevOps DevOps pipeline. So you can't have a space between this. It has to be either you can't have two separate words. It has to be one word. If there are two words, you have to at the middle you can leave it like this or put a an hyphen or an underscore between it. So we're going to select pipeline and we're going to click OK because we're going to run our first pipeline. And if it fails, we're going to try to debug. So this is going to create the pipeline. It's going to take us there. I don't know why it's taking a while to build. Oh, it's a little bit confusing. DevOps pipeline. Okay, I think I created something similar earlier. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to go straight down. We're going to just scroll down to where we can see the pipeline script. So we're going to leave it as this pipeline script. We're going to paste the Jenkins file here and we're going to click save. Very, very simple, no stress. That is something that is beautiful about Jenkins. Very beautiful. The next we're going to build now. And let's see if it's going to work. Okay, so you can see that it is running on Jenkins here. So you see why I said you shouldn't put spaces because when you're working in the Linux environment, right? What it does is it creates what's how Jenkins works is that it creates different how would I put it? It creates different directories for whatever workspace you're going to be working in. So we're working in this workspace, DevOps pipelines analytics. If you had put spaces here, it will have created three different ones. So this is saying that it has completed successfully, right? And our image built successfully. It's ran the same thing. It's ran in every single thing that ran over here is what it ran, right? The same way it went all through this particular process is the exact same way it ran here. So now we're saying that it is successful. So if we go back, we would see that our first build was successful. So we built it successfully and everything checks out. If it was unsuccessful, you will see red, right? So now we're going to start our mini cube. So we're going to go to a different, we're going to go to a different, going to go to somewhere different, and we're going to start mini cube because, yes, we're going to start mini cube. And yep, so we're going to create our deployment.yaml file. This is now where we get into Kubernetes that is very, very sweet. We're going to go to our deployment.yaml file. We're going to create that. And we're going to create this. Yep, seems good. Service.yaml file. I'm going to click enter. So I'm going to explain this, right? So first is saying that I want you to create a new type of deployment called DevOps app deployment, and this is the name of the application, DevOps app. So I'm going to replace this with my username. Okay. Oluwademilade. So this is saying you should use this particular image. So where is this image? This is the image here. So this is something that I've already created. I had pushed to my Docker Hub, so it's not a problem, right? So it's just basically going to pull from this exact name, exact everything. You can see V1, Oluwademilade DevOps V1. So it's going to pull from this and it is going to use it. So when you push to when you push to Docker, this is exactly how it's going to be, and you can pull at any time. You know, I said you build once and then you can run anywhere. So that is basically how it's going to be. So next step. So my mini cube is acting up. I think I started it earlier, but still, let's see if this is going to work without any issues. Okay, so next we're going to create our deployment.yaml file. Deployment.app slash deployment app deployment configured successfully. And then we're going to create this. We're going to run, it's basically us running our deployment.yaml file, and we're going to run this. So let's do kubectl get port. Yep, you can see that it is running and there is no issue. It was created exactly 26 seconds ago. So this is exactly how it will be if you are going through this thing, if you're having this issue, and also this is exactly how it's going to be. Right, so let's go to localhost 8081 and let's see that everything is working well. If you remember, the last time we went to localhost 8080, but because Kubernetes was already using it, Jenkins was already using it. So yes, so 8081, we can see that the website is up now. So let's say we want to scale to 5 replicas. So we want to scale our application. We don't just want one application, we want 5 to run, right? So now let's say kubectl gets pods. So you can see that we have 5 pods, right? 4 of which are just starting up because we just created it. So let's get pods again, and we can see that all 5 is running. So let me kill one, right? Let me delete a particular pod. I'll delete this first one. I want you to notice it. Notice that this is already saying 11 seconds, it's 2 seconds and all. So kubectl delete pod, delete pod, this. Okay, made a mistake in the spelling. kubectl delete pod from namespace. So now let's see kubectl get pod. You can see that it automatically created one immediately. So if you see all these ones for 3 seconds, 114 seconds, but this one was just created newly 4 seconds. So that's the beauty of Kubernetes. Every single thing you delete something is going to start up immediately, right? So now let's take down everything. Keeps it here. What's the name of our deployment? Yep. What's the name of our service? I want to pull down everything that we're running now. So this is the manual way. So this is how they were doing it before, and that is a hassle. So now we want to automate everything. We want to make this as easy as possible. So first we're going to git init. We want to create a new, we want to git init basically. We want to initialize a Git repository here. So we want to create a new GitHub repository. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to go to my Git repository. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new repository. So DevOps Masterclass. We're going to leave everything as it is. It's going to be public, and we're going to create the repository. So git init, we're going to git add, move it to the staging area. Then we're going to git commit. This is the initial commit of my DevOps project. So this is basically the steps that we take before we deploy, before we push a code to production. So this is what the developers are now going to do. So this is saying that 6 files were created, right? And then it's going to push every single thing. Then we're going to set our branch, our Git branch to main, and then we're going to do this. Git remote. Let me get it from here. So this is how you can easily get it. Git remote add origin, then this particular pointing to this particular repository, then git push. Yep. So this application that was, this repository that was very, very new, nothing there. So let's reload. Just created it now. Well, let's reload. And every single thing we created in our local, every single thing that is here is now present in our repository. Very simple, simple and straightforward, nothing difficult. So now we want to replace our Jenkins application, our Jenkins file. So we want it in such a way that it's also going to push, it's going to work with all we did before was just to create the all we did before was just to make it run and everything, but now we want it to do every single thing, including to build our file. So Oluwademilade, my DevOps application, so everything is going to use Kubernetes and run every single thing that we have here. I missed something. This would have failed. Yes, I missed a curly bracket. So now we're going to now add this particular file. Don't forget to run Control S to save this. If not, if you don't save any application, anything that you create when you are about to push, it's not going to push. Nothing is going to push because it hasn't recognized that you created a new application. So remember to save, and then we push again, and then something new is done. So now let's go on Jenkins now. Let's go on Jenkins and let's say hi. So let's reconfigure again. This one wants to fix Jenkins in such a way that Jenkins and our GitHub are going to be connected together. Nothing, everything is going to work beautifully well. So first we're going to click poll SEM, and we're going to copy the asterisk. So what this is basically saying is I want you to do this every single minute of every day, of every hour, and every month. So this first asterisk is talking about the day, it's talking about the minutes, right? So and it's between, of course, 0 to 59 minutes. The next asterisk is talking about the hour, the next one is talking about the day of the month, the next one is talking about the month itself, and the last one is talking about the day of the week. And they have
Hi, Jedediah. We can't hear you.
Hi, please confirm you can hear me now. Hi, can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Yes. Okay, let me share my screen again. So apparently there was a break somewhere, and this was where I noticed it when it said, field connect to repository. So now what we're going to do is we are basically copying the repository. We're basically saying, okay, I want you to use Git and I want you to work with Git. So this is our repository URL and no credentials because this is a public URL. So I want to change our branch. Our branch is main, not master. So let's save and let's see. Okay, so let's build now. So let's first run minikube tunnel. Let's see that everything is running as it should. Okay, needs to stay alive. So let's run it now. Let's build now. Okay, it's returning a failure code. So let's see where the issue is from. Okay, there was a particular issue. I did not change your Docker username to Uluwade Milade, which of course will cause a problem because GitHub doesn't recognize your Docker username, which is something that everybody should pay attention to so you don't make issues, you don't make errors like this. So this is where the problem is coming from. And so let's git add again, git add Jenkins file. So my commit message is fixed username error in CI/CD Jenkins. Yep, and I'm going to git push again. Good. So this is another thing about DevOps, right? You might make mistakes, but the most important thing is you need to know how to troubleshoot. What exactly is this problem? This is where this problem is coming from, and this is how I can fix it. That makes you one of the best in. It makes you, one of the best. It makes you, on top of your game every step that you go. So it puts you on top of your toes to know that, oh, right, I can do this. So let's see if it has reflected here. Not going to be able to see it here, but I can see it here. So 9 minutes ago, so let's see. By now, Jenkins file should show like maybe a minute, 1 minute ago or 2 minutes ago that there was a change that was made 2 minutes ago. So let's see. Yep, now 1 minute ago. Okay. Yep, so now it's building the image exactly from my Docker name, it's pulling it, and like it is now running. So let's see. Finished, and it was a success. So let's see. It's actually supposed to change something so that you can see the difference in this. It's supposed to change something. Come, let's change something. So let's change this from hi, my name is Oluwadin and I love DevOps to wow. Jenkins deploy this automatically. Wow. So I need to put in my name here, my password. Okay, so let's save this. Git add index.html, git commit m, updated website text, then git push. And let us wait. And 9 minutes ago, this is supposed to have changed to now or something. Even though I'm not signed into my account here. Okay, 1 minute ago. Okay, cool. So basically, you can see that I was still here. I didn't even come here to see what was going on this page. And automatically, this thing was already running automatically because what did we do? We pushed to GitHub. I'm sure you also saw that, I was just looking here that, oh, did this index.html file, did it get pushed? And it got pushed. And what happened? Over here, CICD immediately picked that something new changed in the code and is coming here to build it immediately, which is exactly what we want to achieve. We don't want We don't want to have to be imputing commands up and down. We don't have that time because, of course, we are DevOps engineers and we're very, very busy. All right. And we have a lot of things that, a lot of everybody is looking for a DevOps engineer. The backend guys, the front end guys are looking for the backend engineer. So we want to see, oh, is this thing going to work? Right? Is this thing running? Is this thing not going to run? Is this thing, okay, this is still showing on localhost. So let's see. Is this thing running? Is this thing going to work? Is this thing going to fail? Funny, right? I can't. This is going to take us to Jenkins. Not supposed to be on Jenkins. So, anyways, basically, that is it. This is going to take us to Jenkins. If I let it, yep, said that already. So this is going to supposed to show us everything. Let me inspect and so this kind of brings us to the end of the class. So this is basically CI/CD in action. So if I show you my file, where is it? If I show you the file, so I just want you to understand why even in DevOps, right? Yes. Now we can see hello world. Jenkins deployed this automatically. Wow. So this is not the, what we were going through before that, manually doing it and no. Right. So what we just did now is we're able to deploy the Kubernetes. We saw how Kubernetes self-heals. So if an application is down, it automatically spins up, a new one immediately, right? And when there are a lot of issues with a particular application and all, right, on scaling, when there are a lot of things and all, you can automatically scale up to have more than one pod to prevent outages, right? We're able to deploy manually, we did it manually, and we also did it automatically. Let me stop sharing so it doesn't give that weird stuff that it gives. So basically, that is one of the beauties of DevOps. And this brings us to the end of our class. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope I've been able to convince you or not confuse you that DevOps is a very, very important and very, very sweet aspect of tech. And you are obviously going to be important. Every single person in the company is going to be looking for you. You are an integral part of the company plus the back end, front end, QA, the PMs, every single person is going to be looking for you. So thank you very much, guys, for having me today. It was a very huge honor bringing DevOps to you. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. Please let's give the Miladi a round of applause. That's truly impressive to see. That's truly, truly impressive to see. Now I understand how Instagram rolls out new features and I automatically see them on my application. Right, I'm sure a lot of us would have experienced it where you just wake up one morning and all of a sudden there's a new feature on your favorite app and you don't even recall when exactly it happened or whether or not you made an update on the application or whatnot. All of a sudden there's a new feature and all you know is that you're now interacting with it. It's been a wonderful conversation just walking through this entire project from end to end, from covering the theoretical aspects all the way to the more practical aspects of things. It's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Demilade. And now we'll be moving on to the next phase of the conversation today. Now, a lot of us might have this big question in our minds. Yes, Temilade has shown us a lot about DevOps. We've seen how it works. We've seen how to go about this entire process. We've seen the value in the market for an organization. However, is this a role that is actually thriving in the market? Is this a role that I'm guaranteed job security? Is this a role that AI is coming to replace? And what can I do to protect myself? Now, one thing I can tell you for a fact is AI is not replacing this role. As a matter of fact, it's creating opportunity for a lot of people in this role. And Analytics has done extensive research to actually validate this, looking at multiple job boards, seeing how DevOps roles consistently top the chart for, you know, across all of these different job boards. And in addition to this, Tanalytics also validated this research by looking at the Future of Jobs report, which is a report that's released every single year by the World Economic Forum. We also checked across multiple regions in the globe, from the UK to the US to Canada. We looked out for, in the UK, for example, whether or not it was a job that was eligible for skilled worker visa and many other visa options. In Canada and the US as well, we looked if this was a role that you could get into and can get visa sponsorship. And the answer to that question is yes. DevOps is one role that's growing rapidly and is guaranteed job security and access to not just remote work, but also sponsorship opportunities. And this is the report from the World Economic Forum. You'd see that the DevOps role is among the top fastest growing jobs and also one of the jobs that is projected to increase in demand. What that means for you is getting into DevOps today means in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, you will still have a job despite the evolution in AI. Now, the big question is, how exactly do I start to position myself? Jedediah is telling me DevOps is a hot cake and it's something I would really want to get into. Is Jedediah really telling me the truth? Or is he just telling me this so that I would get into Analytics? Well, you do not have to take my word for it, right? This is LinkedIn, and we're just going to go to the job board section of LinkedIn and search for DevOps. And we're going to see what the market is actually saying. And this is currently in the UK. You'd see that there are a ton of DevOps roles that are currently open. And you'd see the amazing offers that these organizations are presenting, right? Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. All right. So we see this role here. It's in London. This is a completely remote role. And guess what? This organization is paying over 130,000 US dollars yearly for this role. And the number just keeps going up. We can check across multiple other regions. Let's look at the US, for example. Let's look at the US and see if there's opportunity in that market as well. And as you can see, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of opportunities. This is a DevOps role that's paying $75 per hour. This is paying over $150,000 for a DevOps role. And okay, this is an on-site job, but there are multiple other opportunities. This is remote. This is another completely remote role that's paying up to 170,000 US dollars. This is what you are positioning yourself for, getting enrolled into the program. And this conversation we just had today, what Demilade just walked us through today, is the kind of work that you'd find yourself engaged in as a DevOps engineer. And now to the big question. How exactly do I get myself positioned for these roles? What do I need in order to get hired by multiple organizations globally? There are two things that every single recruiter needs from you. And I'm telling you this as someone who has been on both ends of a hiring process, both as someone who is applying for a role and also as someone who is actually hiring for a role. I've had the opportunity to lead tech teams in the US as well as in Nigeria. So I understand what it means to be hiring a technical person into a role and the specific things to look out for. And everything can be put into two brackets. Number one is skills, and number two is experience. And this is something that's common across every other tech role and common with every other technical recruiter. Now, the big question is, how exactly does Analytics help you to ensure that you have these two things? You have the skills, which means you have the business acumen, you have the technical know-how, and then the experience, which means you have actually done these things before. You'd see a lot of job openings today that say, oh, we need someone with 2 years of experience. But for you who is only getting into DevOps today, how exactly do you show these businesses that you can actually get the work done, that you have done it before and you can actually get the work done for them? And this is how Analytics helps you to achieve this. We ensure that you work in an environment where you have your hands held all through. From the beginning of your experience, from the very first conversation that you have with analytics, there's always going to be someone who can hold your hands, someone to support you, someone to help you, guide you through the entire process. You're going to be interacting with experts like myself and Oluwademilade as you navigate your transition into DevOps. In addition to this, you also have access to employability services. We understand that it's not enough to have the technical know-how. It's also very important that you have someone that's guiding you through how to position yourself for the roles. Imagine someone who is a great tailor but knows nothing about pricing, knows nothing about marketing, knows nothing about how to run a business. They might have the skill, they might have the talent, but they are most likely not going to make a lot of money from it because they do not know how to market this talent. And that's why we also have the employability services to ensure that you have someone to support you, someone to guide you on how to actually land a job, not just to learn the skill, but to actually get into a role. We also have one-on-one career consultations, which you gain access to. And the purpose of this is to ensure that you have a personalized conversation with a senior tech career expert that can guide you through how you can navigate your journey into the tech space. And on top of that, you get to take advantage of Tenalytics already existing reputation in the market, on top of which you are gaining a certificate from Tenalytics, as well as guarantee of maximum support. We have an 88% of success rate with our students, and we are guaranteeing you this level of success once you are able to run into the program. I mentioned that there are two things that recruiters want. Number one is the skill. And the way analytics helps you to gain this skill is by putting you into a flexible learning environment that allows you to not only learn at your own pace, but also learn from instructor-led classes where you get to have conversations with your facilitator, sessions like the one we just had today, working on practical projects. And in these sessions, unlike today, you actually get to have the opportunity to ask questions and interact with your facilitator. But today's session, for the purpose of time, and because this is simply a demo, that's why we didn't have the opportunity. But in the actual live classes, you get to interact with Demilade, and you get to ask questions. She gets to put you through working on an actual practical project and even guiding you on how to put together your portfolio. In addition to this, I mentioned that we also have employability services. Now, to break things down and really outline what these employability services are, they include the CV review session, where Analytics is practically working on your CV for you and sending that back to you. This is to ensure that at the end of the day, the CV that you have is one that's foolproof, a CV that has been worked on by experts in the industry. We will also take you through LinkedIn optimization session. And the purpose here is simple, to ensure that you are able to build a LinkedIn profile or a public profile that positions you well enough for the opportunities that you're looking to get into. I can't tell you the number of times that recruiters have reached out to me personally with different job offers simply because my LinkedIn profile is well optimized. And a lot of our students have had similar experiences. If you joined the session earlier, you might have heard some of the testimonials from our students. Some of them who got opportunities from recruiters who literally reached out to them. This is one effective way that you can leverage LinkedIn for networking and also positioning yourself for opportunities that you desire. We'll also be guiding you through how to navigate the tech job market. It's very different from a lot of other markets, especially when it comes to the hiring process, the skills and requirements of recruiters. And so we're taking you step by step through what it takes to actually get into a role like this. We also have interview preparation session, and here the focus is on preparing you for an actual interview. So when you are called for an interview, we have a personalized one-on-one conversation with you. You get to speak with a recruitment expert that will take you through what kind of questions to expect and how to answer these questions correctly. You'd see that all of these things are positioned strategically in alignment with helping you to actually get a job. LinkedIn optimization to help you have a LinkedIn profile that attracts recruiters and the best audience. A CV that positions you as the best candidate. And in addition to all of this, you have someone to walk you through and prepare you for an actual interview. In addition to all of this, we have the one-on-one or on-the-job support even after you have gotten a job. And the objective for us is simple, to make sure that you not only get the job, but to also sustain yourself in the job. So whenever you have challenges, especially within the first 30 to 60 days of getting into a new role, which is most likely your very first tech role, we provide support to ensure that you are able to maintain and withhold that role. We have weekly mentorship sessions throughout the period of your learning journey, and the objective is simple, to make sure that you have career support, you understand what it takes to accelerate your transition journey, and we also have Upwork optimization. So if you decide you don't want to work full-time for an organization, we'll be training you on how you can leverage Upwork, which is a freelance platform, to simply work on projects, get paid, and move on. All of this is positioned to make sure you have the technical skills and also the employability skills that is required to actually get a job. We'll be helping you build experience by working on premium case studies and projects and helping you to build your portfolio so that you can showcase this to recruiters when you're actually getting into a role. All of this is designed to ensure that you have the right help, you have the right information, and you have the right support in ensuring you're able to secure a role. Today, we were able to cover three major tools. We looked into Kubernetes, we looked into um, Jenkins, and we also looked into Python and Git, and we also looked at GitHub as a matter of fact. So more than three, concepts. Demilade was able to break down CI/CD for us. However, this is only a tip of the iceberg because there's a lot more to cover when it comes to the DevOps ecosystem. There are a number of tools that you get to learn about, and this is everything that's covered within the DevOps engineering role, from understanding Linux basic commands to Git and GitHubs to building pipelines for CI/CD and so much more. You get to be learning from experts like Demilade who will be breaking things down as simply as possible, giving you maximum support through your learning journey. Now, the period of your learning spans for a total of 8 months, during which you have 6 months of training in the classroom and 2 months of internship with our partner organization, Amidari. The purpose of this internship is to help you build the second thing that I mentioned recruiters want. If you can recall what that is, I would like for you to type it in the chat. I mentioned there are two things that recruiters need from you. There are two things that recruiters look out for when hiring. Can we recall what the second thing is? Let's go on to type that in the chat. What's the second thing that recruiters want? Now I'm going to see those of us that were paying attention. Yes, the second thing recruiters are looking out for is experience. And even though you do not have 10 years of experience, you do not have 2 years or 3 years of experience that these recruiters might be asking for, the real question that these recruiters want answered is whether or not you have actually done this before. And is there any tangible proof? Is there tangible evidence that you have actually done this before? One way you can showcase that is by building a robust portfolio that showcases your skills. And that's why within the Analytics Learning Program, you are working on practical case studies in every single live class and through all of our learning materials. In addition to this, you have a period of internship with our partner organization, which is solely designed for the purpose of helping you to gain work experience, which also helps you to position yourself for these amazing roles. We've seen how much organizations are willing to offer hundreds of thousands of dollars for experts in this space. We've also seen results from extensive analysis that shows that there's an opportunity in the market for you right now. And on top of that, this role is one that's projected to increase in demand in the coming years. The big question is, are you ready to commit to this journey? What you want to do right now is to commit to joining Tenalytics, where you'd get to leverage our network and access to all of our materials, as well as support and premium training to position you not only for the roles technically, but also to ensure that you're equipped with the right support and employability skills that you need to actually secure a job. We have our next cohort that starts on the 4th of July. And right now, you have the opportunity to be a part of this at a discounted amount. You get the unique opportunity of saving over $250 on your enrollment. Right now, the full price for the cohort is actually $1,250. However, we have a 20% discount available for every single person on the call right now. I mentioned earlier that we have a special gift for everyone that sticks around to the end of the call. This is your special gift. You get to save $250 enrolling into the program. And that's not it. That's not all of it. You also have the opportunity to actually access all of these amazing benefits and access the program and pay in installments. So even if you do not have the full amount right now, you have the unique opportunity to pay in installments, gain access to premium training, career support, and employability services as you navigate your transition into the tech space. Right now, my colleagues are sharing the link in the chat. All you want to do is to go on to click on that link and get enrolled. These grant you access to Tenalytics, to our learning platform, and to navigating on your journey into the tech space. What you want to do is click on the link which my colleagues are sharing and simply scroll down to locate the DevOps engineering program. Once you locate it, you want to click on enroll now. I mentioned that we have a 20% discount available for everyone on the call. There are a number of slots that we are able to take, and we can see that the slots are already running out. So what you want to do in order to guarantee your entry is to click on the role and actually get enrolled. So click on the link, click on enroll now. This brings you up to the next page that shows you more detail about the program. You want to come over here and click on the button that says enroll now, which takes you onto the next page. Scroll down, provide the necessary details, and go on to sign up on the payment page. All right? This creates a unique profile for you on our learning system. And once you've completed that process, it finally brings you up to this page where you can make payments and get started on your journey. Now, once you get on this page, you can scroll down, and here you'd see that we have multiple payment options. The full price for the program, like I said, is $1,250, but with the discount, you're only paying $1,000, and you can spread that to up to 5 installments. But here's the amazing thing. If you decide to pay 5 installments, you have flexibility on your payments. However, there are extra benefits if you decide to go with 2 months of installments. What that means is you're paying the first half now, and you're paying the next half in a month's time. Now, what are these extra benefits, you might ask? The extra benefits includes a full job application service. What this means is Tenalytics will literally be applying to jobs on your behalf. And on top of that, remember, you have access to the interview preparation service, where we'll be preparing you for an interview when you have one. So all you need to do is actually focus on your learning, and Tenalytics would actually be applying to jobs on your behalf. And on top of that, there's a guarantee. You have a guaranteed 3 interviews from Tenalytics once you make your first installment. You have access to the full job application service where we will be applying for you, guaranteed 3 interviews. And when you eventually have those interviews, we will also be preparing for those interviews. Now, the benefits don't end there. In addition to all of this, you also get access to the founder of Tenalytics. You get integrated to the founder circle, where you get to have personalized conversations with the founder of Tenalytics. You get to learn from his wealth of experience in the industry and guidance. You get mentorship directly from the founder of Tenalytics as you navigate your journey into the tech space. Now, there's more to this. If you decide to pay the full price upfront, you get access to all of these benefits, priority access to all of these benefits. And on top of that, you enjoy an extra discount. It really doesn't get better than this. This is your cue to get started on your journey into the tech space. Having Tenalytics, having a platform and a system that supports not only your transition journey, but supports you through job applications, supports you through interviews, and literally applies to jobs for you, provide you with mentorship, provide you with support and all of the help that you need in order to secure your very first tech role that exposes you to $50,000 salary. All you need to do is pay a minimal amount of $200, lock in your slots, and get started in a couple of weeks on your journey to unlocking an amazing salary of over $150,000. This is your cue to get started. All you need to do is follow these steps. Go on to click on the link, follow the steps I have outlined. And once you get to this point, check these two boxes and you can go on to make payments. Click on pay now, and then you can go on to provide your card details or select whichever payment method works best for you to get yourself enrolled and started on the program. It's super exciting to have every one of us on the call today. I'm sure we've learned a lot from the conversation and interaction with Oluwatemilade. But before we drop off from the session today, I'd like to give us the opportunity to ask a couple of questions before we drop off. I'm sure some of us are already on the site to go on to secure our slot. But before we drop off, I'm just going to take a few questions, maybe two or three, and then we can wrap things up for the evening. Do ensure that you're using the link that my colleagues have shared. And I need to point this out as a disclaimer. This link expires in a couple of hours. All right. So you want to take advantage of this before the link expires or the slots run out. So go on to click on the link, secure your slot. And if you're not sure how your journey is going to be, do not worry. I mentioned you get the opportunity to have a personalized conversation with a career coach once you are enrolled into the program. And I'm looking forward to your success on the program. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to drop it in the chat, or you could use the raise hand gesture, and I would very much quickly address your questions. The floor is yours, everyone. Yeah. So if you have any questions, I can see that a couple of us are already getting enrolled. I want to assume that the silence is because we are currently registering and don't want to miss out on the discount. So just go on to complete the process. I'm just going to leave you to that. My colleagues are sharing the attendance form as well as the payment link. Do ensure that you fill out the attendance form so you still remain within our ecosystem and go on to complete the registration, securing your slot for the next cohort. And I'll be looking forward to engaging with you again once the program kicks off. It's been a pleasure catching up and interacting with everyone on the call. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I'll be looking forward to speaking with you again soon. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.